Hi everybody. In this video, we're going to read the next chapter of Meet the Gecko. Chapter 3, Secret Knock. I've never had a big party for my birthday. My mom tried to make me have one last year, but I couldn't figure out who to invite. Trinity Althofer is the only person who's halfway nice to me. She's a girl. Besides, she's into horses, not computers, or math, or science. Now that I think about it, I have more in common with Bubba Bixby. Scary. My parents always give me a really great present for my birthday, though. That's how I got my digital camera, and my scanner, and my bike. They always take me someplace cool, too, like bowling, or to an arcade, and once even to a theme park. I love roller coasters. All those lateral G's, vertical G's. Think about the signs involved. Roller coasters employ gravity, centrifugal force, momentum, and acceleration. They're amazing. The wildest roller coaster I've ever been on had 5 loop-de-loops and 7 inline twists. I thought for sure I was gonna die. My head was dizzy, my body was shaking, my stomach kept flying up in my ears. But it turns out 12 inversions on a roller coaster was nothing compared to meeting the Gecko. My stomach was so topsy-turvy I thought for sure I was gonna barf. And that was before my dad picked me up at school. I didn't tell anyone at school where I was going. I was dying to, but now that I knew that Bubba wanted to meet the Gecko, it was way too dangerous to talk about. If Bubba found out, he would want to pound me. The only person I could have told was Mr. Green, but he was in Oregon visiting his brother who was having a heart operation. So I kept my mouth zipped at school, but it was hard. And when the release slip came from the office and her substitute, Miss Newby, told me I could go, I tripped over my feet and my seat, and molecules of thin air racing out of there. My whole body felt like it was going to burst. On the drive over, my dad let me sit up front with him. I wouldn't exactly call it sitting, though. It was my turn to bounce around. As we got near Old Town, Dad said, "Hey, champ, take a deep breath, okay? He's just a guy." I tried, but my lungs were closed up tight. "You've got your camera, right?" I nodded. "And your poster for him to sign?" I nodded some more. "So relax. He'll like you fine." He tousled my hair. "How could he not? You're a superhero, just like him." "Dad." He just laughed. Cedar Valley has one fancy hotel, and that's where the Gecko is staying. The hotel is called the Historian, and it's a part of a bunch of buildings that make up Old Town Square. Not that the square is really a square, which has always kind of bugged me. It's more you. Mom says I shouldn't take things so literally. Dad says I should look at the park area in the middle of the U because it's a square. I say they should quit calling it something it's not, or build a fourth side. Anyway, all of the buildings in Old Town are wooden and connected with a big, wide, creaky walkway. The Historian is wooden too, only it sticks way up in the sky. It's 7 stories tall. As we drove past, we could see people setting things up outside the hotel. There was a giant scissor crane, rolling dollies, big silver reflectors, lights, cameras. Pretty soon there would be action. I was looking all around for the Gecko. Was he there? Dad was leaning across me, looking out my window too. "Do you see him?" "Not yet. Do you?" "Nope. Looks like they're still setting up. I think he comes out when they're all ready to shoot." The car behind us honked. We were stopped in the middle of the street. But since you're not allowed to park cars in front of Old Town, we drove around the corner to the parking lot. A whole section of it was blocked off for semi-trucks and moving vans and trailers and limos. The place was packed. "What's all that?" I asked. "Movie equipment, I suppose. And trailers for the stars, maybe." He smiled at me. "I'm just guessing, Nolan. This is a first for me, too." "Wow." I hung my head out the window and looked ahead as Dad got closer. Do you think the Gecko's in one of those trailers? Maybe so, but I was told to go to the hotel, so that's what we're gonna do. After Dad parked the car, we walked into Old Town and cut across the park. We watched people setting up equipment outside the historian for a few minutes, and then Dad said, "We better get going, Nolan. I don't want to be late." I'd never been inside the historian, but I had gawked through the window plenty of times. They have a giant stuffed grizzly bear inside. It's fierce. It has beady eyes, huge yellow teeth, even bigger claws, and it's standing on its hind legs, roaring. Now that I think about it, it looks an awful lot like Bubba. When we went inside the hotel, I discovered that the grizzly bear had company. There's a stuffed buffalo, an elk, deer, boar, and a bighorn sheep. There are also wagon wheels and gold mining pans and blacksmithing tools, and the walls are covered with maps. Cool X marks the spot kind of maps. We crossed through the lobby, going under ceiling lights that were made out of antlers. Off to one side, there were swinging saloon doors, and to the right was a big, swooping staircase. We walked up to the long wooden counter, and a man on the other side said, "May I help you?" "Yes," my dad said. "I'm Stephen Bird. I have an appointment to see Chase Morton." "Very good," the man said, and picked up the phone. When he hung up, he pointed behind us and said, "If you'll wait in the green room, someone will be right down." The green room was not green, it was tan, but it had lots of food on long tables that were arranged in the shape of an L. The tablecloths were bright white and went clear to the floor, and on top were big black vases with pine branches and pine cones sticking out. "Why did he call it a green room, Dad?" "That's just what they call a hospitality room, champ. I'm not sure why." Dad spotted a big steel coffee urn. I spotted a big stack of cookies. Peanut butter. Yum. After a while, a lady with red hair came in and said, "Stephen Bird?" Dad said, "That's me." The lady put her hand out to Dad and said, "I'm Hannah Blockwell. We spoke on the phone?" Dad shook her hand and smiled. "A pleasure to meet you. This is my son, Nolan." "Well, hello, Nolan," she said. "I hope you're a fan of the show." I gulped. I nodded. My tongue tried to dive down my throat. She chuckled and then said, "Well, come on up. Chase wants to conduct the interview in his suite." We rode the elevator up. I watched the floor numbers light as we were boosted higher and higher. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ding! Top floor. The doors clanged back and we followed Hannah Blockwell down the hall. We turned a corner and went down another hall. And another. The doors started having numbers and names. Room 724 was named Wagon Wheel. Room 727 was Golden Nugget. Room 730 was Prospector's Dream. And the very last door, where we stopped, room 733, was Eureka. The henna lady did a secret knock at the door. She did it soft. She did it quick. But I recognized it as an easy mathematical progression. 3, 2, 1. I knew the Gecko's secret knock. Then we heard a voice call, "Come in." It was time to meet the Gecko.